Okay, so I think I'm going to show this how to do it correctly first, and then I'll go back through and try and show you what I think you're doing wrong. So I've got the bond tool shown, or drawn, and I'm being very meticulous in how I draw this. Okay, and if I double click, whoops, let's not do a double click yet, I'm just going to show all the bond structures first. And I'm going to try and draw it the way that you had it drawn, or the way it looked, as best I can. And then now we can go through with our labels. If we double click, I can enter the H, I can enter the PH, I can enter that, whoops, I can enter the next H, and then if I try and enter the R1, that doesn't work. That gives me a charge structure, so that didn't do what I wanted it to do. Took me a little while, but we got to go to the, if you read the directions, actually, it would have helped me too. We have to go to that OH. Okay, so for the bottom one, it needed to be in R2. That needs to be in R2. And then I'm also missing down over here. If I double click, I can put in the O. If I double click, I could write TS, or I could go down to my menu, pull up the TS. And then this, believe it or not, is correct. Okay. Here's though what I think you did, and I have to actually erase everything and go through and try this again. What I think happened is you clicked and dragged to create that line across. We could then put in the H, we could then put in the R1. We then go through, and what I think again happened is you drew another bond here and over here, and you went through and put in a PH, an H, whoops, come on, an H, the O, we need another line there, and then the TS, and then this was put in as the R2. Okay, I think. Okay, and I could easily be wrong on this. And if I go through and now click check answer, this should look almost identical to everything that's over there. Okay, so there's some things that are slightly unidentical about it. Notice that if we look at the drawing, I'm not sure you can actually see the cursor. If we look at the original drawing, notice that we have kind of an angle there. We don't see that angle over here. And if we're considering in Lewis structure mode, there isn't really any difference between how that's drawn. So that should theoretically be fine. And yet, if I click check answer, it says I'm wrong. Okay? And not just the bottom one not being entered, but the top one with the top one, I completely forgot, you can't see my cursor at all, the top one says I'm wrong as well. Okay? And what happened is what I was describing, or attempting to describe with the toothpicks, which is going to be very hard to do, but I'll try and do it up here in this upper kind of right corner. If I took two toothpicks and overlaid them in a cross, you could say, well, they intersect at that point. Okay? But if I now rotate this 90 degrees, so I grab this toothpick and I kind of pull it, great in 2 dimensions, pull this out towards you, okay, well, we would have the toothpick, well, now I can't see, and I'd have the other toothpick over here. There's now no space, or there's no intersection between those. They're just overlaid in such a way that there appears to be an intersection between them. The way that I've drawn the structure and how I think you've drawn the structure in your previous examples is that overlaid issue. Okay? So we want to make sure that you don't have the overlay, okay? Which means it's a bit more tedious to go through and do. And so one of the things that I asked, or I think is in my email, is that you should attempt to select and drag one of those atoms. So if I try to move that hydrogen, what happens? Okay, notice the hydrogen moves and the line connected to it moves as well, but so does the intersection. Okay, so if we leave this here, and now let's pull out my pen, okay, the intersection of that line has moved. Okay, if we now lose the drawing again, and I move it again, now where's the intersection of that line? Okay, well, the intersection is now moved. That means I haven't actually overlaid or connected those lines. They are independent pieces. They may appear to be connected, but they are completely separate and independent. Okay? The computer program needs you to specify those those intersections. Okay? And this is where it can get tedious, because what must happen is instead of just drawing 3 lines to complete the homework, we need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 lines. We could then go back through and specify each of those individual atoms. Sorry, there's another line. I keep forgetting that TS. TS, and then we have to pull out the special menu for our R1 and our R2. And when we go through and enter it in this fashion, and we do check answer, now it comes back as correct. Okay? So you have to specify the intersections by ending a line when you go through and draw it. We can't take shortcuts by drawing a continuous line. 2 dimensions versus 3 dimensions, it's very important to make that distinction. Hopefully this helps.